Oops, let's get Magdalena. Should be off the screen, Mark. Hello, this is Brett Hill, and I want to welcome you to day two of our amazing conference. Day one was so off the hook. It was hard for me to actually imagine the quality of the speakers and the talks that we had. The panel discussions were amazing. And it will be no different for day two. We're really excited to welcome you to this series of experiences we have lined up. But let's begin like we have with our other events with having just a mindful transition to take a moment to be present and kind of get from whatever you've been going on. I know there's been some great conversations at the tables and in your day, simply to be present and transition to bringing more of your attention to this next 40, 50 minutes, because we're going to have some great information and presentation coming forward. Simply pushing pause on your day because you've chosen to be here, and honoring that choice by bringing more of your focus. And a great way to do that is just to stop for a little bit and breathe. Take a breath and relax. If you wish, you can close your eyes like I do and simply pay attention to what's going on for you now. Just noticing your thoughts. They come up, oh, well, there's this, oh, there's that. Yes. And coming back to paying attention. Just for a few more moments. Beginning like that is, for me, is always helpful, and I hope it's helpful for you. And I have with me Magdalena Mook from the CEO of International Coaching Federation, and Mark Manavam, my illustrious co-host for The Future is Mindful. Welcome, Mark, and we'll introduce Magdalena in just a moment.
Welcome, everyone, to The Future is Mindful Day 2. I am your co-host of The Future is Mindful here with Brett Hill. Good morning, Brett, and good evening, everyone around the world in these different time zones. I saw some mindfulness leaders from Thailand and Singapore, so we truly have a global gathering of mindfulness experts and leaders here today. And we have some wellness experiences later today and a panel session after this that you won't want to miss. So Magdalena Mook, our opening speaker today, is speaking on an important topic related to coaching and mindfulness. And who better to talk about this than the CEO of the International Coaching Federation, specializing in strategic planning, cultural competence, ethics, international affairs, and board governance. She also oversees organizational budgets and manages professional staff of the ICF. Magdalena is also a trained coach. She received her training from the College for Executive Coaching and also holds a certificate in the fundamentals of systemic coaching. Magdalena, welcome to The Future is Mindful, and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here with everybody. And I just heard from Mark about and we just heard from about the day before, and I see some chat going on about a fantastic session. So I am delighted that I can be with you today and talk a little bit about mindfulness and coaching. I know that the topic or the title of my presentation is Can Coaching Help or hurt. And of course, in a good coaching tradition, I would like to suggest a different title, and that would be How Can Coaching Help? By the way, during the presentation, if you have some questions, please put them in the chat, and then we're going to have some Q&A session at the end as well. So I know that most of you, if not all of you here at the conference, are already experts in mindfulness or very, very keenly interested in mindfulness. And I'm sure that you heard so many definitions already. The ones that we use the most would be is that this is a basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are, what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. It is a way of paying attention to the present moment, helping us become more aware of our thoughts, our feelings. So instead of overreacting or being overwhelmed again, we can better able to manage them. So that's mindfulness. So what about coaching? I know that many of the participants of the conference are coaches, but for the rest of the audience, ICF defines coaching as the partnership in a thought-provoking way that helps an individual to reach their highest professional or personal potential. The word partnership is really important here because the coach is an expert in a process of coaching. However, it is the client who is really an expert in their own life and finding solutions to whatever issues they are trying to resolve. For those of you who do not know ICF, ICF was created in 1995, and the reason for creating the organization was to give credence and credibility to those, at this point, that very young and budding profession. Since then, ICF is a proud home to 55,000 professionally trained coaches who hail from 150 plus countries around the globe. ICF is a gold standard in coaching standards and in credentials for professional coaches. And right now, also, we have over 44,000 actively credentialed coaches around the globe. So the growth of the organization, which is a reflection of a growth of a profession, has been tremendous. In January 2022, not a long time ago, we released a study that we commissioned and PricewaterhouseCoopers conducted for ICF about global awareness of coaching. That was our fourth study in the same topic. Our first one was done in 2010, and quite frankly, there is the saying that the good lawyer does not ask the question if they don't know the answer. Well, at that time, we did not know the answer about what was the global awareness of coaching. It was 50% then, and I'm very proud to say that in 2021, when the study was done, 70% of respondents said that they were aware or very aware of professional coaching. Those respondents came from 35 countries. We conducted the study in 17 languages, and over 30,000 individuals responded to the survey. 70% global awareness is unprecedented, and even more unprecedented is a jump from 51 in 2010 to 70 in 2021. We asked our colleagues at PricewaterhouseCoopers if they saw this kind of the growth even in awareness in any other fields or professions, and they had to scratch their heads. They quite could not find another profession of the same reach. So coaching is growing, coaching is being better accepted. And what we also know is that there is quite a difference in who is using coaching, who is more aware of coaching. You probably won't be surprised that the younger generations are more aware of coaching and also are more willing to engage in a coaching process. And also people residing in urban areas are more willing to, either are more willing or already are in a coaching relationship. It is not a big surprise, but the main reasons why people engage in coaching is to improve their communication skills. It is to deal with the stress of everyday life. It is to find this work-life balance, but also increase productivity, teamwork, find solutions to building better, more productive ways of operating for organizations and corporations. It is stress management, of course. Many times coaches are engaged to help with the decision-making process, and also dealing with crises, with coping with ambiguity, things that we are really expecting every single day, and we are seeing them every single day. What is also very important and encouraging is that the study indicates that those who participated in coaching relationship, overwhelming majority were very satisfied or satisfied from that experience, and almost every single person were willing to recommend coaching to their colleagues, family, and peers. So let's bring coaching and mindfulness together. Our definition of mindful coaching is a guide to using mindfulness effectively in coaching. Mindfulness enables coaches to work more closely with their clients, and basically it heightens focus and clarity. It improves listening and communication and increases presence. Mindful coaching may include a range of real life examples, practical exercises, and those allow the coaches to be more resilient in their practice. And also it can be incorporated in the practices that they offer to their clients. And the clients are facing increasing challenges in defining clarity of their work, and also really how to navigate these very, very complex times, especially with the pandemic over the last 2 years, and even before, we were still talking about VUCA times, so the times that are very, very uncertain, and that do not create very easy answers to the very fast-paced changing environment around us. So mindfulness is very important element of successful coaching. It has natural affinity for coaching. As many of you know, ICF creates the core coaching competencies. We recently moved from 11 to 8 of those competencies, and you can see immediately that several of them are very closely related to mindfulness. Competency number 2. It stays, embodies a coaching mindset. A coach embodies a coaching mindset. And the definition calls for developing and maintaining a mindset that is open, curious, flexible, and client-centered. Competency number 5, maintaining presence. Again, the definition, a coach is fully conscious and present with the client, employing a style that is open, flexible, grounded, and confident. You can probably already see the resonance with mindfulness. Another competency that comes to mind is competency number 7, evoking awareness. Definition: the coach facilitates client insight and learning by using tools and techniques such as powerful questioning, license, metaphor, or analogy. So I think you can see that mindfulness influences many of core competencies, including the 3 I mentioned just before. For example, mindfulness strengthens presence. Presence, one of the most important competencies in coaching, creates empathy, improves poise. Coaches are more sensitive to the needs of the clients and keep the emotional balance to be able to assist the client in a positive and yet unattached way. Mindfulness also enhances active listening skills. Coaches who are active listeners can explore clients' use of language and expression of emotion. And mindfulness can help the coach focus on the present moment, being with the client, so the client feels being heard and well cared for. Finally, mindfulness will create clarity and focus on trying to cutting down on the mind chatter. So the coach, again, is more present, alert, and is able to encourage the client to take new actions and keep moving forward the desired outcomes. You will hear the word presence a lot because truly effective coaching depends on the quality of coach's presence and attention. In other words, that ability, as we say, holding the space for the client and engage in a process of inquiry, insight, and change. And frankly, one of the most effective ways to develop this capacity is through mindfulness, or in other words, the art of skillful awareness. So, developed through meditation or other exercises, mindful exercises, mindfulness counteracts sometimes with our tendency to get stuck in autopilot and paying attention really to what's happening around us. Frankly, mindfulness is good for a coach, and as such can be used by the coach and the client. Excuse me. So there are 4 core benefits according to a research done by Jonathan Passmore and Marinetti in 2007. And the 4 benefits are summarized as helping with preparing for the coaching session, maintaining focus during the session, remaining emotionally detached or unattached to the outcomes, and finally, something very important for both coach and the client is sharing the practice with the client for benefit of their work beyond the coaching session. My colleague and friend Liz Hall in the United Kingdom conducted a research in 2013 about mindfulness and coaching. And she says that in the online survey from coaches from the United States and the UK, the top reasons why coaches practiced mindfulness was to help them live more in the moment. I'm just reading from the study. 74% responded that was the reason why they practice mindfulness. To be more self-aware, 73%. Manage or prevent stress, 67%. Be more present for their clients, 65%. She asked another question, and it was if and why they use mindfulness with their clients. And the response was 70% said that they helped clients become more self-aware, be calmer or less anxious, better manage stress or be more centered, and finally to better manage relationships or responses to other people. 51% of respondents stated that. And when you look at the field of coaching, you will see that there are more and more of conversations around creating specific training programs to train coaches in mindfulness, or to create a mindful coach, if you will. And there are many other projects and programs that are offering some mindfulness techniques that are extremely useful for the coaches and for their clients alike. The ones that I like a lot, because I use it myself, is the technique of looking into environmental distractions. Not always we can have a control over them, right? Perhaps there is a dog barking somewhere and it's not your dog. And even if it's your dog, you may not be able to do anything about it. But sometimes it's your phone just blinking every time. Sometimes maybe there is a radio playing in the next room that it's loud. So being able to pay attention to those environmental distractions and make that decision if we can do something about them or if we don't, and just move forward with that greater clarity about what may distract us, and how we can help that circumstance. The stop technique is another one that I use quite a bit. We are so busy. We are so extremely busy. So even at our opening exercise, we were asked to stop, just stop, recenter, and think about where we are and what we want to do next. So many times we will find ourselves being busy, but not necessarily realizing if we're doing what we need to be doing at this given moment, uh, rather than just going with the flow. So to stop, to think about that, maybe once a day, maybe several times a day during the coaching session. That's a technique being used a lot in coaching to help the client being less distracted, or not distracted by less important tasks, and just coming back to personal choices and productivity. And finally, the one, this is not easy, but I particularly like this one, is the attitude choosing technique. So it is bringing to the attention and awareness, we're talking about the awareness of a client, that they have a choice of what attitude they want to take to any given obstacle or situation that they may be facing. So a coach can help a client improve awareness in their body, learn how to notice physical senses, and how to access the self-wisdom that we believe every client possesses. And by learning how to interpret the signals from the body, one does become more self-aware, and it feeds into mindfulness, but also into taking that different attitude, because we can, because we do have that choice. So, in summary, a coach helps a client deepen mindfulness through helping them through these exercises and exercising awareness in a moment. The coach does this through asking questions. We all know that, the 8 coaching competencies, and also being present if what's happening right now in terms of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and the connection between them. A coach can help client create own practices to improve mindfulness, and these specific techniques, they could be practiced by the client beyond coaching sessions and become a habit. So they could be very simple, like a short exercise we're taken through before this session, and they are all designed to focus and hold attention and in a present moment. So in summary, yes, mindfulness is good for coaches. And mindful coach, being so aware, so present, so focused, can very much help clients to develop their own ability to access their own mindfulness. So you can find a lot of information that I shared with you, especially about the research, at our website, coachingfederation.org. The PwC research is absolutely there as well. And also I wanted to mention to you that in May 16th through 22nd, it is yet another year where ICF celebrates the International Coaching Week. It is a global celebration of everything coaching, and most of our chapters and most of our members do participate in those activities, creating seminars, demonstrations, talks. So wherever you are, please do check our website again for ICW, or International Coaching Week. And I'm sure that there's gonna be a lot of a conversation about mindfulness, connection between mindfulness and coaching, mindful coaching, and because mindfulness seems to be something that we are probably in a great demand for, and again, I'll state it again, mindfulness is useful for coaches. Mindful coaches are very helpful to their clients, and clients can become more mindful because of working with the coach. So with that, I would love to hear questions that you may have or about anything at all. Okay, I'm reading. You mentioned empathy, but remaining emotionally detached. Has it been difficult at any time? Ooh. Yes, it's definitely not easy. Having said that, it is absolutely important because our job as coaches is not to solve a client's problem, it's to support them in helping them find the solution. So being empathetic but detached from the outcome is what is important. So we hold that space for the client, and at the same time, it needs to be an answer which is best for them, despite what we may think might be the best way for them to move forward. It requires practice too. And again, I think that mindfulness is very, very important as it helps develop self-awareness. And that self-awareness will help you figure out when you are maybe trying to convince a client about something rather than listening to them and helping them, leading them to finding their own solution. Thanks for that question. Yeah, client-led, thank you for that. Client-led approach is a must, of course. Having said that, the ICF core coaching competencies, especially the competency 7, I mentioned it before about evoking awareness, does offer a space for bringing new ideas to the client. And it may, again, it may be a process. It may not be that they will find it useful at the first time. But sharing your own experiences, sharing your or experiences of other clients that you work with may be helpful for individuals to just try. You know, I remember when I worked with my very first coach, I'm still friends with her. And some time ago, and it was a long time ago, and a couple of years ago, maybe 3, I called her and I said, I have to apologize to you. And she was a little puzzled that you said, apologize for what? I said, well, I don't think I was a very accessible client at first. Like you mentioned, not everybody is prepared for certain type of working together and certain way of working together. So I told her, I said, I now also being trained as a coach, now I understand what you tried to have me do and where you try to how you try to help me, and yet I wasn't available. I wasn't available because it was very new. So I would suggest just giving time to the process and also perhaps sharing some of your own experiences. Yeah, group coaching and team coaching are very fast growing techniques right now. I would say that team coaching is probably right now the most used, cited, discussed type of coaching to be delivered. By the way, ICF last year developed a competencies for team coaching. They're in addition to our core coaching competencies, but as you can see, team or group coaching does require additional competency, skills, and knowledge. And we are also working on creating a specialty credential in team coaching. I am not a team coach, so I cannot really respond to that from my own experience. However, I think that there are some of these exercises and some of these techniques that could be very useful for grounding the team and for again create that presence in a moment that allows for the coaching session to be more productive. I think perhaps a little explanation of mindfulness and what are the benefits of mindfulness may be useful for those who are reacting more maybe intellectually than emotionally at the first try of using mindfulness in a group coaching setting. Mm. Well, I think that as far as presence, what comes to mind immediately is presence. And it is true for a client and a coach. As I mentioned, Jonathan Passmore's research, one of the benefits of mindfulness is the preparation for the coaching session. So if you work with a client for some time already, it may be useful that you would invite them to practice a little bit, do one of the techniques of mindfulness prior to coming to the session, and at that moment you can do a really very quick exercise before the start of a session. So as you suggested, it's not taking away from the allotted time, and sometimes you said 50-60 minutes, sometimes it's even shorter. So practicing a little bit mindfulness prior to the session may be one of the suggestions that I would share. That's an excellent question. What other previous training or education do you recommend prior to taking a coaching training? You know, it is so fascinating having 55,000 members at ICF, of what kind of background they are coming from. Everything, you name it, we have an individual who comes from that background, either education or experience, and now is a trained professional coach. There was a early on we saw that many people joining ICF were coming from medical field or the field of psychology and or counseling. It is not the case anymore. As I said, it's absolutely just about every type of education you can find amongst ICF members. What I think is important, of course, is that one does have a solid background in coaching, and then you can find the areas that interest you most and develop your particular specialty or your specific offering with that additional education and development in those fields. We at ICF, and that's part of our code of ethics, we believe in continuous education. So it is the life learning, and as new disciplines, quite frankly, are being developed and coming to a support of coaching, mindfulness being one as well, then we try to incorporate it into the offerings for our coaches, so they truly are growing and developing as individuals and as professionals, as long as they are practicing in this field. Noticing a biggest shift in coaching methods and needs from coaching clients. Yes, coaching methods, I already mentioned that team coaching is really becoming amazingly popular these days. Another trend is that's more prevalent amongst people who already participated in coaching before, is what is called laser coaching or spot coaching. In other words, it does not require 50 or 60 minutes. It does not require a regular schedule of coaching, but instead it's just touch point. You know, I'm really struggling with something right now. I need to talk about it. I have 15 minutes. Can we tackle it? So this laser coaching is also becoming more prevalent. As far as coaching needs of coaches, the method, I came back to that. We did the study with PwC again during the COVID pandemic, and what we noticed was that there is a significant, very significant in some regions of the world, shift from in-person coaching to virtual coaching, and many believe that that trend is here to stay, especially with a better technology available to all of us now, to have a good connection and have an ability to see each other that way during the coaching sessions. As for the needs, that is also very interesting and partly reflective in our COVID surveys. what our members responded to and reported was that although a lot of coaching is still happening in the context or in the context of corporate organizational coaching, so more leadership, executive, many clients now bring the life to the conversation. Many executives are saying, to be a good executive, I have to be centered, I have to be grounded myself, and I do struggle with situation at home, with the stress, with the risk, with the fear. So let's work on me first before we go into looking of how better me can better help the organization. We also see we do a survey of new members joining ICF every month, and we did notice that there is an increasing number of those newer to ICF coaches saying that their specialty is life and vision enhancement. It doesn't detract from executive and business coaching, but we do see a little shift. Also, we do see a little greater input and influx of coaches that specialize in well-being. So this is another great relationship with mindfulness, as it really helps well-being of the client, or can support well-being of the client. Tension between non-striving and furthering oneself for professional. So that's going to be more of a personal opinion, but also some research around that. People tend to be, again, more available for maybe greater risk, maybe more lofty goals when they have passion for what they do. So, and we hear it especially about the younger generations, right? That they don't look for a job, they look for a career, and the career is more defined by the passion towards what they are doing, what cause they are supporting, and what results they may see as they work more forward. So I think that this is another thing that coaches do a lot, is to help individuals find that passion, find that special sweet spot that then allows them to really blossom and thrive and flourish, because they found they truly can identify with the work they are doing. And again, both coaching and mindfulness, I think, could be extremely helpful in allowing a person to explore and to be more certain about choices they make. Good questions to ask clients. That so depends, of course. There is not one that is a silver bullet at all. It all depends on the client. It all depends on the issue that they are working with the client on. And sometimes the most impactful from the client perspective is just a moment of pause rather than a question. It could be the little moment of reflection. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can offer one best question to ask the client. Oh, bias. That's another, actually, difficult that you ask that question, because how time do we have? Bias, and especially unconscious bias, is a certain area of great passion for me. So yes, it is extremely important to. We are all biased. Let's just face it, right? We all have our biases. What is important is that we recognize that they exist, and that we recognize how we react to them. So again, mindfulness, helping with self-awareness, is one of the best ways for a coach to be fully cognizant of their own reactions and their own biases. Especially the unconscious bias is a difficult territory, which when you have intellectual knowledge about your own bias, then you can keep it in check. However, if it is an unconscious bias, then what your body tells you may be much more important than what you intellectually may be processing in your brain as you are having a conversation with the client. So using mindfulness to deepen self-awareness and presence is definitely something that would be extremely useful. I think I'll reference the study from Jonathan Passmore. It was conducted in 2017. It was published in the Coaching Psychology Journal, but on Jonathan's website. So just Google Jonathan Passmore. I'm sorry, and you will find this study. It's quite fascinating. And Liz Hall's study is from 2013, and it has been published in her book Mindful Coaching. So you can find excerpts from this book and several articles written by Liz and based on Liz's book as well. Some are also available on ICF website. We do have a research portal. It is available to coaches who belong to ICF, but actually the general public. So if you just put a keyword mindfulness or mindful coaching, a lot of these references will be available to you as well. Many coaches do that, nature and walking coaching and mindfulness. For many people, I actually do not have statistics on that, but many individuals find a greater ability to be mindful when they are in nature or not surrounded by more work-like environment. So I know of quite many of, especially our wellness coaches, that do suggest, again, this is client choice, but do suggest the nature or walk coaching. And again, that corresponds nicely with this trend of being more virtually connected rather than necessarily face to face, but even face to face. That is a growing trend. I think, again, it very much depends on the type of a client and on the issues that you are working with the client on. But let's face it, right now so many of people even use the walking desktops and walking desks, I should say, and this is physical movement seems to be helping very much, or being in the nature seems to be helping quite a bit, again, with that presence and with that very deep self-awareness. I love it. Excellent question about cultural competency towards cultural humility. I think my answer to that would be that it may be just a choice of words, because quite frankly, cultural competency, if you're really truly competent culturally, you also are humble towards the cultures, and you are accepting and embracing other cultures, again, back to that bias, with the understanding that this is not everything in any given culture is understandable to us. It's even innately acceptable, and at the same time being able to work with people from different cultures. Anymore, we are such a population that you don't have to go to the foreign country to coach and to work with somebody from other culture, right? So I think that there is a greater recognition that cultural competency is a must. There was a conversation several years ago at ICF if cultural competency should be one of the core coaching competencies. And where we landed after some very spirited conversations is that cultural competency has to be reflected at every core coaching competency. There is not add on, there is not, one off. It has to be absolutely everywhere. And I think that as the world, we are becoming more culturally aware that humbleness or humility is definitely coming to play. And again, it very much depends on the context of the coaching and the nature and personalities of the coach and the client. Oscar's music is playing, I think.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That was so great to have you talking about mindfulness and coaching. And I loved hearing about the paper that I'm looking that up. We posted the link to the book, Mindful Coaching, as well. And all the great work that ICF is doing to, help people be better people. So it's a big mission, and we really appreciate your influence and the focus and clarity you bring to the mission. And it's on behalf of the world. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Mark. And you mentioned helping people being better, either better people or just being better. The vision of ICF calls for thriving society through coaching. So this is exactly where we're going.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. We went through a lot of questions. Mark, you have anything?
Yeah, thank you for answering all those questions. I think we went through like 12 of those. So thank you for that. Just as a final note, if you have any special things you'd like to share with the audience, I know you mentioned ICF. I think we posted that not ICF, the International Coaching Week.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone definitely please check that out. If you're a coach or facilitator, definitely help us keep these events going. And if you have any final words to share with our audience, we can end with that.
Sure. So a couple of other things to mention is, of course, ICF website. You can really find a lot of resources there, and specifically the study I was talking about, the PwC coaching awareness study, is there as well. But I want to thank you for Brett and Mark to creating this event. The future is mindful. It better be, right? And I think I really think that we are at the time and place that we are willing to stop,
Mm-hmm.
that we are willing to reflect, that we are willing to think about different ways of moving forward. And I think that mindfulness is definitely supporting both intellectually and emotionally, supporting that positioning ourselves as becoming different tribe, as becoming different humanity. And I'm so grateful that you thought of creating this space for this extremely important conversation. And thank you for having me.
Well, of course. We really appreciate you saying yes, because we know that you have a lot going on. So I invite the audience to, follow her on LinkedIn. She's everywhere all the time, and and doing great work. Check out the ICF. Those of you that are interested in coaching, there's so much out there. I'm expect to get my ACC probably in a month or two myself, and so I'd be happy to talk with anybody who's interested in that process as well. And we'll talk soon. So thank you so kindly.
Thank you very much.
Let's see here.